Taurus. Hello, Elizabeth here. Welcome to my channel. We're gonna tap in, see what's going on with you, babes. Do you have a good weekend? Surely you did. Father's Day weekend. Everybody get the love they needed. If not, I'll send you some. So you know the rules of tarot. Take what resonates, leave what does not. And without further ado, let's jump in and see what's going on with you. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising. What is the messages? We have the Five of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, the High Priestess, Judgment, the Magician in the reverse, with the Nine of Swords in the reverse. Well, that's good. So we're struggling. Oh, I say, well, that's good, and then I say we're struggling. We're struggling a little bit with within maybe a work situation, something that we're working with. Eight of Pentacles, but we're using our intuition to make some kind of judgment call here, and we're not going to allow something. There's something in this that has the potential to manipulate our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, and we're really focused on not allowing that to surface, not allowing that to take place, because we know that's going to put us in the Nine of Swords. So to prevent ourselves from being placed in this space of anxiety, worry, we're not going to allow those emotions to surface, and we're making this judgment call based on what we intuitively know about whatever it is we're dealing with. What is the Eight of Pentacles? So you're trying to gain some kind of truth, some kind of clarity around something. We have the Ace of Swords. Can I get some more, please? The Ace of Cups. Ooh. So you could have been trying to gain some clarity about how you feel about a certain situation. Could be a work. It does feel work related, but it's like you've gained some kind of truth. Excuse me. At some point about work, and it started to stress us out. It started to really amp up. Started to really create some kind of chaos within. With the Five of Wands, that's my chaos card. But we've learned from that. We've worked really hard to work through this energy so that we're not sitting here worrying ourselves. Because Taurus has the tendency to kind of mill over things sometimes. It's okay. We all do it. Yeah. It's like we know that if we don't change our point of view or our view on things or how we feel about the situation, it's only going to burden. It's only going to create more problems for us. So we've really sat with the energy. We've gained some kind of higher knowledge here. That's really good energy. That's really good for you to do. So I feel like you've probably spent some time thinking about this. And you've figured out that if I sit here and I continue to worry about it, it doesn't get any better. In fact, it actually probably gets worse. And you're releasing all that. You're like, I'm not going to worry myself anymore. It does me no good anyway. So I'm just going to live happily. Okay, maybe not happily, but I'm just going to live my life. Should be happily, though. Beautiful soul. Should be happily. Page of Wands. Yeah, because you learned the lesson. You've already learned that if you don't change your point of view, you don't change how you feel about the situation, it's going to only intensify the bad feelings. And we don't want to feel that. We don't want to feel that. We don't want to feel that way about nothing. Knight of Cups. So we're stepping back off into the heart space, I feel like, at this point. And actually allowing ourselves to feel versus think. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the way we think about things. That perpetual cycle of just thinking. And that thinking process can really cause us to become stuck. And it really does cause a lot of fears and anxiety. And from what I see here, you're really grounding yourself. You're really taking the time to figure out why this stresses you out. Whatever this feeling was, whatever the chaotic situation was, whatever happened in the situation, you've really thought about it to the point where you've been able to understand why you're feeling that way. And that's the reason why I'm seeing that you're not worried about it. You're letting go of the worry. Temperance. So we're really starting to be patient with ourselves here. That's good. Congratulations. Really. It takes a lot to get to the point where you can be patient with yourself. Especially when, you're kind of hard on yourself. I feel like whoever this reading's for, you're pretty harsh on yourself. You have dreams, you have particular goals, and you set forward motion to go in that direction. And if something steps in that way, it really upsets you, especially when it's something that you do. And this could be in ways that we don't intentionally do this, because I do feel like it's unintentional. Things happen, life happens to us, but I see you finding a way to actually understand why you get frustrated. Why do you get angry with it? Why can't you move past it when it does cause you to feel stuck? What else does Taurus need to know? We have the Two of Wands, the Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune, the Moon. Ooh. You fixing to have a choice that you have to make that you're not aware of. You haven't a clue that it's going to change things. You have the choice to make things better for yourself, or worse. It's all in the perception, the way you move through it. And the King of Swords with the Page of Cups. Somebody's gonna have something to say. It could feel a little harsh, but they are gonna want to apologize. I feel like you just might need to be a little bit patient. This could have already happened. I don't necessarily feel like whatever this harsh words is coming to you, I feel like it's already happened. But the unknown part is the fact that this person's going to come in and apologize for their harsh words, and that's going to change things in the way that you feel. But it's not until, I feel like it's not until you make the decision to free yourself from it, to let it go, just not even hang on to it. Accept it for what it is. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, and move on, and not hang on to it, because it's easy to fall in, especially when you've been wounded and you've already dealt with a lot of traumatic events or bad situations, bad people. It's very easy to stay in that energy and then be guarded, and we block ourselves from new opportunities from coming in. We block ourselves from allowing the situation to actually become better, because we're too hung up, or we're too stuck in our own ways of the past versus the now. And if we really focus on what we're dealing with within the now, and focus on where we need to go and how we need to move that way, in that direction, and bring love to the situation versus a clap back, being nasty back, saying something harsh back. We don't have to do that. Sure, it feels good temporarily, but in the end, it doesn't really do much, but just make the situation worse. That's all it does. It makes it worse. And I feel like you're seeing that. You're seeing that if you want things to work, in a more fluid way, you're stepping into the High Priestess. This is where you're stepping into that higher self, that higher timeline of the self, so that we could really understand maybe the person we're dealing with is having a bad day. It doesn't excuse, it doesn't make it okay, but sometimes if it's out of character for someone to act a certain way towards you, then it's maybe we need to take a step back and see why we're taking it offensively. If we do take something offensively from someone else, then obviously there's a wound there that we need to spend some time with, right? And so I see you being able to actually look at this from a different angle and actually make the judgment call based on that higher knowledge of the self, the awareness of how we feel, why we feel it. And it's not until we're able to actually feel those are we able to work through the stress, the worry, the anxiety. And Because what they said did bother you. It bothered you in a big way with the Ten of Wands there. It did stress you out, and it's like you were. It's given the feeling of like working through something. We were working like maybe like on a project or working through a situation with a loved one. You know, where we had a disagreement. This kind of feels like we're just gonna agree to disagree at this time. With that Ten of Wands, with the Page of Wands, that's what that feels like to me. Just getting to a point where, you know what, it's not about saving face. It's about calming things down. So things kind of got out of control. Out of control. Maybe we lost control of our emotions because of what they said really did pain us with that King of Swords. It was a harsh truth we didn't want to hear. And so I feel like, but if we step back and if we accept the truth for what it is, detach the emotions that came up with that harsh truth, see how much truth of that truth is actually real, is actually yours to carry. I feel like the weight is then going to shift itself to a more malleable weight. It's not going to be something that's going to be so constrictive and it's so heavy and it has us held down to where we can't move. This is going to allow the shift within the energy, within the heart space, where we can actually let this go, let go. Okay, so this person said something because they were having a bad day, they were having a rough time. It's out of character for them to talk to me like that. I'm going to take that in consideration. I'm going to set that aside over here. Now I'm going to take what they said, and only half of it was true, but this other half wasn't. Well, I'm just going to take this half that wasn't true, and I'm going to throw it away because it didn't apply to me. It doesn't matter. They can think what they want to think. But I'm going to take this truth and see why it pained me. What caused my heart and my thoughts to become at odds? Why did it cause me to lash back, yell back, get defensive, argue with this person? And really hold the weight of that, because that's when you realize that the weight of everything that you're carrying really isn't all yours. That trash needs to be thrown away. Them being having a bad day, that's not your weight. Let them carry that. Don't get upset about that. That's a them problem, not a you problem. And just carry what you need to carry. And that's, if that truth bothered you and it was something that you want to correct, then correct it. If it's a truth that you can handle and you can accept, then accept it and go on like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. But you do have a choice. You will have a choice in this situation. And that choice is going to be, it's going to come down to whether you're going to stay in that energy of being defended or offended and needing to defend ourselves, or are we going to step into that energy of, okay, so I'm going to separate everything in their perspective places. This is decompartmentalizing, okay? I'm an Aquarian. I do it rather well. And understanding that there's more things into the equation here that's caused the weight of this to be even more than it should be. So I'm going to eliminate all those things that do not apply or do not fly with me. I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm only going to accept what I need to accept. And I'm going to take accountability. The King of Swords is really good about taking accountability. So when you get to the point where you've moved the emotions and you've moved everything out, then you sit with the self and you accept what you need to accept. You take accountability for that. Don't push that off on them. They had a bad day. No. They could have a bad day. They're entitled to that. Right? You have bad days. I have bad days. We all have bad days. Things happen. But we don't have to carry the weight of, oh my, I can't believe they talked to me that way. No. That's something they need. So you bring love back. You give them love. And this causes them to check themselves, because if they're a person of any validity, if they have any respect for you and for the connection that you have with them, they're going to step back and be like, man, that was really harsh. Then they're going to come back towards you, it's maybe at a later time, maybe not right away, and apologize. Hey, man, I didn't mean to say that the other day. I was pretty harsh. Please forgive me. And then, things can mellow themselves back out. And I feel like if you're able to actually accept what you need to accept in this, take about accountability for what you need to take accountability, and bring love back to whatever the situation is, I feel like everything's going to work itself out. I do. What else does Taurus need to know? Six of Cups. It can be done. It can be done. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. It can be done. Balance can be restored. I feel like if you don't, then it's probably going to end badly. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups, the World with the Page of Pentacles. This is allowing the balance to be restored so that things can continue to move forward, so that you can, this will close out certain aspect of the self, within the self. I feel like once you do this a few times, you'll start to get the hang of it. This is like the first stages of being able to decompartmentalize and separate our emotions from trash, from truth, and put them all where they belong, and deal with those emotions as they come. And this is really going to spark things off in a different direction. This is because that falls right under the Wheel of Fortune, and that tells me that you hold the key. You hold the key. At any point, you can change how you feel and change how the situation is playing out at any time. And even if this is a stubborn, pig-headed person that is not going to come back and apologize, that's fine. That's fine. They don't have to. Forgive them anyway. I know it sounds stupid, but forgive them anyway. Because that's you got issues, man. Straight up, you have issues. You need to work on that. That is not a me problem. I'm going over here and I'm going to mind my business. Keep on trucking. Justice on the bottom of the deck. You have the ability to bring justice to this situation. Queen of Swords, I'm speaking the truth. Somebody's delivering some kind of truth here. That she delivers the truth and nothing but the truth. She's fully acceptant. So someone is taking accountability for their actions here once they're able to sit down and think about it. But it takes a stronger person. The one with the most strength character is the one that's actually going to be able to sit with themselves and see their fault in the situation and take accountability for it. That's how you can tell the difference between the strength of character. Somebody that doesn't have a very strong character, is very insecure, and is very worried about everybody else, they're not going to take accountability for anything. They're not going to step up and say, hey, I was wrong. They're not going to apologize. They might act like everything's hunky-dory, even if they're the ones in the fault. You know, they're the ones that's in the wrong. They won't acknowledge it. They won't acknowledge that you were right. They will simply just act like everything's good, like they've done no wrong. And that tells you what kind of character they are. So then it becomes a little bit of a higher level, depending on how you resonate with this reading and whoever this is to you, whether this is a love relationship, a friendship, or a work situation. And it does look like it's work related to me. It doesn't have to be, but that's the way it looks. You have the choice to whether you continue to engage with this individual or not. I know some situations, if it is a work situation, if it's a coworker, you can be cordial. You don't have to be buddy-buddy with them. You don't have to be rude and hateful. You can just be like, hey, keep on trucking. You know what I mean? We got two more cards. We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, they're not gonna. You're gonna see it. If they choose, if there was an apology, if you were the ones that said something harsh to this person, and they're the ones struggling to accept it, they're acting a little bit immature. Someone here is acting immature with what they said. They're gonna hold back. They don't want to accept it. I feel like you being able to step into this energy, the Queen of Swords energy, and deliver your truth, and the King of Swords energy, and actually accept the truth for what it is, they're going to hold back from saying things to you in the future. They're gonna think about it before they say something to you, because they know that you will say, "Hey, I understand you're having a bad day. Don't take it out on me. How can I help you? I'll help you in any way that I can help you, but I'm not gonna fight and argue with you either." Simple. And then, they have the option, the choice to check themselves or wreck themselves. Let them wreck themselves if that's what they want to do now. I kind of feel like this person might end up wrecking themselves in the end. And what I mean by that is not in the literal sense. They're going to wind up getting themselves in a jam with you. They're going to wind up doing this again. And if you repeat the process, do the same exact thing that I'm talking about doing right here, they're going to realize it's going to set this boundary. So there's a boundary issue. There's someone that's crossed the boundary here. They've pushed it. They're going to test it again. May not be right away, but it will be tested again. And if you do the same thing, follow the same process, they're going to realize, okay, I can't just talk to this person however I want to talk to them if I'm having a bad day. And they'll be more respectful, or they won't talk to you at all. And if they don't talk to you at all, that's fine as well. Hey, if that's what works, then that's what works. And it's for the best. Because I know if you go after Taurus, you might not like it that too much. You might get yourself in a 9-line bind. So, Taurus, if you like the way I read, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until we meet again, toodaloo-doos.